It's October of 2014, and I'm a child who does not take to horror media well. In my bedroom, my brother shows me a video on his school Chromebook that will change the trajectory of my life and this YouTube channel forever.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
This video was both terrifying and intriguing to me. I had no idea what this even really was, but man, I needed more. And eventually I discovered a series of videos that would also change the trajectory of my channel.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's, an indie horror game that you guys suggested en masse, and I saw that Yami Mash played it and he said it was really good.
And with that, at 9 years old, I no longer wanted to do toy reviews on this YouTube channel. I wanted to play games. But even at 9 years old, I knew something about YouTube. Never, under any circumstances, make a gaming video by recording your screen with a camera. But I didn't know how to record my screen, and my Xbox 360 didn't have Fnaf on it. How would I pull this off? Well, first I had to get the games, and there was only one place I could get them, the Google Play Store. But I was 9 years old, and had no way of making money, as I was not thrust into the cogs of the capitalist machine yet, and wouldn't be for at least another year. So I found my solution in the demo of Fnaf 2. I played it on my couch in the living room before getting jump scared by Toy Bonnie and proceeding to stop playing for a little while. While I stopped playing, I was still incredibly hooked on Fnaf. I would beg for plushes, figures, even the shirts. I had a poster with stolen Fnaf fan art on it. I would watch every MatPat theory on Fnaf. I'd write down the lyrics to the Fnaf 2 song on paper, and my dad would read it out loud and say, "That's a little dark for someone your age." But that didn't stop me because I was obsessed. A few months later, more demos dropped. Fnaf 3, and most importantly, Fnaf 4. I would play these anytime I could, and I remember specifically playing Fnaf 4 for the first time on my bus ride home from school, and losing my mind because it was so terrifying. I kept watching theories and consuming content until one day in July of 2016 when I convinced my mom to let me spend $2.99 on the Google Play Store for the full first Fnaf game.
If you clicked into this video, I hope you're excited as much as I am because holy crap, we're finally playing Five Nights at Freddy.
As you can tell, I was pretty stoked.
It's not a very fun thing to do. Anyway,
After making my first Fnaf video, I never continued the series for whatever reason. I couldn't even tell you why I didn't, I just never picked it back up. But I never stopped obsessing with this franchise. I would check the Scott Games website, I'd look at the source code for the site and realize I have no idea what I was looking at. I'd watch 8-Bit Ryan, Razbowski, and Dawko break down the new teasers. I was there for the Fnaf stream where Scott talked to MatPat through his website, and I followed every single game religiously. The Fnaf 4 teasers on Scott Games were a particularly fond memory for me. I would go to my mom's work every day after school and check the Scott Games website for updates, and if it changed, I would brighten the image and look at the source code and then watch Razbowski or Dawko break it down. And eventually, Scott posted this thank you page, leaving the world to wonder what was next for the Fnaf franchise. I mean, it couldn't be over, could it? Surely not. I mean, that feels really abrupt. Why would Scott end it there? That doesn't really... What was that? Wait, zoom in. What is that? What the Fnaf world ghost dropped after being teased for several weeks, and most people did not like it. I never played it myself, but the lore that came from it was pretty cool, and if I'm being honest, I was satisfied with what it was telling us. A lot of theory fodders with characters like Old Man Consequences, and... Did that guy just kill himself? When the Sister Location teasers dropped, I analyzed them like crazy, including the cancelled due to leaks one. And watching the trailer for Sister Location was crazy because everything was so new. We heard people talking in this game, and that was so crazy for the lore. Like, we finally heard the purple guy's voice. Like, the guy from the Silver Eyes. That means the books might be canon! They weren't, but the theory world went crazy that day regardless. Myself included. The game came out, and I watched Mr. Applier play it, and I watched theories when they dropped, and just kind of kept track of the Fnaf lore. Sister Location is probably the most hyped about a Fnaf game I have ever gotten, and Living Tombstone dropped the best Fnaf song to commemorate it. This game tied into the lore of FNAF world and expanded so much of it, and it just helped the theory world so much. And Scott didn't even stop there.
Begin tape. Leaving dead space. 3, 2, 1.
FNAF Pizzeria Simulator is a game that when I saw it, I was incredibly hyped for the lore implications and was stoked to see what would happen, and ultimately, the game put the franchise to rest in a satisfying way. It all came full circle, and the story could have ended there, and I was satisfied. And I'd still watch theories and gameplay videos, but my obsession with FNAF slowly settled into just a deep love for the property, while my Undertale obsession grew. But then something interesting happened. Ultimate Custom Night dropped, and when I saw it I was like, oh, okay, that's not stretching the story in any way, just a fun little game that like one person ever truly beat. And then I went back to my other fandoms, and then FNAF VR dropped, and I was like, okay, sick, we're getting VR ports of the classic games, right? Oh, they have new lore? William Afton's back from his personal hell in Ultimate Custom Night? Okay, so they brought back the main antagonist, but they made him kind of not important for this new person that you're playing as? Okay. Then stuff kind of just slowed down, at least from what I remember. I kind of just moved on. Theories made a story I was satisfied with, and I just loved the idea that it was Michael Afton cleaning up the sins of his father. I loved the story, and it made the fiery ending of Pizza Sim so perfect, as the father, the son, and the Henry spirit all gave their lives, freeing the souls along the way. So I kind of stopped caring, I guess, until a new teaser for a game came out, teasing FNAF Security Breach, and when I saw it, I was like, oh no. And then when people saw it after it released, they were also like, oh no. Listen, I don't want this video to seem like I'm sitting here hating and I'm saying, I don't like it, so it's all bad and it all sucks and I'm unpinning FNAF from my Pinterest board. Because no, they eventually fixed the game, and there are a lot of people who ended up liking the lore of the game after they could actually play it. I still continued to watch the theories, but I felt kind of tapped out on the newer FNAF content at this point. But then a huge piece of news dropped that the FNAF movie was finally in the works and was going to release soon. And me and all of my friends lost their marbles because, oh my god, it took 10 years, but they're finally doing it. My hype was palpable. So palpable that I finally went back and made a series on YouTube beating the FNAF games I grew up on.
Hello everybody, my name is Postmax95 and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's, an indie horror game recommended to me by Duncan Live.
When I see those videos I made in 2023, I only wish I could show them to that 9-year-old kid who recorded a mobile game on a phone. The kid who watched Markiplier and decided he was going to do what that guy did because it made him so happy to make stuff. I like to think he'd love those videos. Eventually the movie was released a few months later, and I went and saw it. Quite frankly, I was terrified it would suck, but I was pleasantly surprised. Critics didn't love it, but I had a great time analyzing every frame. The animatronics looked amazing, the score went crazy, I liked the characters. Matthew Lillard, please sign my forehead! I was back in it for a little while, rewatching old theories, and honestly just enjoying all the memories, watching the Markiplier videos, and loving all the content I grew up on. Even if some of my friends didn't like the movie, I liked it. Even if it took some major creative liberties with the characters and their lore. I thought it was fun. It was a nice full circle moment between my obsession as a 9-year-old to me in 2023, who was in the workforce for the last 8 years. I thought back to my first time my brother showed me the FNAF 2 trailer, my fear and curiosity being equally as strong, leading me on a wild path of YouTube creation as well as just a general life path. Even if the lore wasn't my thing anymore, there was no doubt these games and this story had a profound impact on my life. I think the final nail in the coffin for me, and the ultimate inspiration for this video, was the second movie. I don't like being overly negative on my channel, especially when talking about the works of others. That's why I don't post a ton of videos saying, blank game is garbage, or blank game is overrated, or whatever, because I think that there are plenty of other channels that will feed into that negativity. And I just prefer celebrating the games, and eventually, maybe soon, comics and other media that I enjoy. So I'm going to try to be incredibly brief and honest about my thoughts on the recent FNAF movie without spoiling anything. I think the animatronics, and specifically the puppet, were incredibly well designed, but I could not get past the personal writing issues I had with the story, as well as the major turns that were taken with characters from the lore, things that were changed so much to the point that these people were not even recognizable, and it's why I believe this franchise is no longer for me. I loved the opening scene, I loved the atmosphere, I loved the puppet through and through in this movie, yet I just can't bring myself to like this movie. And that's unfortunate, right? FNAF 2 is my favorite of the FNAF games, so I think it was disappointing for me to see it adapt the books better than it did the game. But even still, I was sitting in the theater waiting for my friends after finishing the movie, and I heard people say stuff like, "That was so good," and "That was movie of the year for me," and I thought, wow, how cool is it that this franchise can so resonate with millions of people on such a deep level? I think when I see people online hating on modern FNAF, I feel like it's like, you just have to kinda accept that the franchise has always been popular with younger audiences. And yes, there are plenty of adults who enjoy the series, like Markiplier, our Matthew Patthew, our 8-Bit Ryan, our Dawko, our Razbowski, our Brittany Browski, our Drewski. Not everyone is going to stick with that. Like for me, I liked the ending we got 3 or 4 games ago, and I was tapped out there. And the miracle of gaming is, you can just stop there. If that's where FNAF ends with you, you can stop consuming it past that point, and that is perfectly okay. Now, you can't pretend that new stuff doesn't exist, like some really irritating fandoms do, but if you want to talk about the lore, or why the original 7 games are the best, you can. And matter of fact, I will encourage you to do so. And if you hear me say that and ask, how would I do that? My brother, look at the platform we are on! I started making videos on a phone that looked like this, with no editing at all, and yet I kept going. I kept making toy reviews until one day I got a mobile screen recorder and started making gaming videos. And then I started editing those videos, and then I started writing scripts. And then I got an Xbox One for Christmas and I started streaming on it, and now I have a PC, script writing abilities, as well as a decent editing ability, and I can scream like a madman about whatever I want. And literally, none of this would have happened if not for a silly game about Chuck E. Cheese robots screaming at an underpaid worker for 5 nights. The theater I went and saw FNAF 2 at was giving out these bags. They were sealed and had a little FNAF logo on them, but we had no idea what was in them. So when I grabbed one, I opened it, and it was a little metal coin, specifically a Faz token, which was really cool. But the part that was coolest to me was, of all the animatronics I could have gotten on the coin, I got Toy Bonnie. There were several different faces it could have been, and to be honest, I was kind of hoping for the puppet, but when I saw this coin, I thought about how perfect that is. My first FNAF experience all those years ago was FNAF 2. My first jump scare was Toy Bonnie, and all these years later, I'm in a theater with my friends who obsessed over FNAF with me over the last decade. And in my hand is a metal token, almost commemorating those memories, the theories, the art, the videos, and everything we made as both friends and content creators. Looking back, what a perfect way to commemorate all of it. Even if the movie wasn't for me, there are countless people who will have seen this and continue to love the franchise, or even people who started with the movies who will have that decade of obsession, and they get to see all of the content from over the years, and they'll have their own videos to make and own opinions to share, and that's so amazing to me. So thank you, Scott, Matt, Mark, Dawko, 8-Bit Ryan, Razbowski, Duncannon, Valtric, and Five Nights as a whole. And thank you, my brave volunteer, who has stuck around for my ramblings over the years, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.